All right, Shalom. First and foremost, all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles, great millstone. And Southern brothers doing this thing in sincerity and truth and with charity. And we got the truth, man. Now, our apostles and elders broke down the four river heads, that surrounded the Garden of Eden, because the whole world was called Eden. But there's a garden in Eden. All right? And that garden, is the land of Israel, because what's the Lord's garden? Who was the Lord's garden? His pleasant plant. Well, let's grab that, then we go back to that. This is Isaiah 5:1. Now will I sing to my well-beloved the song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved had the vineyard in a very fruitful hill, and he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked at it, she bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. And now, let's jump down. Verse 7, for the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looks for judgment, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry. So we know what the Lord garden is, of course, spiritually is the nation of Israel. But like the scripture says, he chose the place for the people's sake. So what is the place he's going to put his garden at? All right? It's one and the same. So it's that region. Now let's get Genesis 2. And now out of the ground made Yahweh power to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into four heads. So you got a body of water running through, and you got another four heads that also run. All right. The name of the first is Pison, that is which compasses the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium, and the onyx stone. So what's Havilah? All right, Chawala, Chawayala. Got the at the end because that's the ha. All right, but a district in Arabia is what we're going off of. A district of Arabia, okay, and it explains it by talking about all the gold and stones and everything that it has, right? So it has a body of water that covers this land of Arabia, which is the Red Sea. All right, and we're gonna pull up a map. In fact, let's real quick just to so we'll see what Saudi Arabia right there, right? And what's covering it? The Red Sea. And then we have and the name of the second river is Gihon, the same as that compasses the whole land of Ethiopia. Well, we know what covers the whole land of Ethiopia, which is the Nile River. All right? And the name of the third river is Ezekiel, that is which goeth toward the east of Assyria, and the fourth river is Euphrates. And the Ezekiel, all right, or the Tigris, you see it's east of Euphrates. Okay? Now, the Spirit describes it how it is right here, and through the Spirit we can tell. We're going to get the precept too after this. But this website right here, this you can get to it. You can type this in, I guess, and find it. But this guy or woman, I'm sure it's a guy, kind of goes into geographical science to confirm what we already know through the Spirit. Now, of course, Esau got all these ideas and theories, and they said maybe this river, maybe that river. All right. It could have been this dried up river, which, I mean, bodies of water connect. So one part could be dried up, this and that. Look, this is what it is through the Spirit. I'm going to get to the meat of this and just hit another precept. This isn't meant to be long. It's just a faith booster, man. Okay, yeah, I want to hit this. There was recently discovered fossil river that runs from the western mountains of Saudi Arabia towards Kuwait. This old river, of course, is now nothing more than a dry riverbed. Its old path was detected by satellite imaging. Many have speculated this may be the ancient Pison, and it's been dry since 35 to 2000 BC, 3500 to 2000 BC. Although Saudi Arabia marginally qualified for the land of Havilah, the fossil riverbed that flows across it had its origins in the mountains bordering the eastern side of the present-day Red Sea, south of Israel. All right? It should be pointed out that those mountains are mirrored by another range of mountains on the western side of the Red Sea. The Red Sea is a tectonic spreading zone and part of the Great Rift system that runs from northward in Turkey down to the Dead Sea along the length of the Red Sea and then southward deep into the African continent. Obviously, when the mountain range was split by the rift, the source waters of the proposed Pison River would have dried up. But this proposed river may be somewhat of a red herring because it does not seem to naturally fit the overall pattern. All right? Let's keep going. The Gihon, the same as the compass the whole land of Ethiopia, which is an African land area west of the Red Sea and southward, of course. Political boundaries of what we call Ethiopia today were certainly different in biblical times, but the general area is correct, which Ethiopia is Ethiopia. I mean, the exact may not be the same, but that's the land. That's what Ethiopia is. All right, Cush, the land of Cush. And if a river formerly flowed down what is now the Red Sea Basin in southern Africa at the Far Triangle, it will certainly fit the description of a river that can pass the whole land of Ethiopia. Now it's talking about this great rift system. All the four of these rivers have one thing in common. All are connected to the great rift system. And he said that is the key to the mystery of the two rivers. All right. So let me jump down to this. Okay, here we go. Not to go too deep into it, because I mean, this is still by carnal means in a sense. It's about the spirit, which we're gonna get another precept to this, but it just shows we on point, man. What roughly emerges when all four rivers are connected to trace the Great Rift Fault System is a complex river network emerging from a common point of origin that flows both north and south, which each north and south extension split into two separate streams for a total of 4 heads that adds up to 4 separate heads. All right. The Great Rift and branching fault system, based on the description of its path in the Bible, which says compares the whole land of Havilah. Let me jump down. I really just wanted to focus on that Great Rift and branching fault systems. And he shows, all right, you know, the course Tigris, Euphrates, the Red Sea, and then he got what's at the bottom of Ethiopia. All right. So just want to touch on that, man. He uses some geographical science to show that we on the right path, which we're right. Okay. Furthermore, so Rock 24 and well, man, 25. He filleth all things with his wisdom, as Physon and as Tigris in the time of the new fruits. He maketh the understanding to abound like Euphrates, and as Jordan in the time of the harvest. He maketh the doctrine of knowledge appear as the light, and as Gideon in the time of vintage. And like the scriptures say, none shall want his mate. So the precept to show that the region of the Garden of Eden, all right, is in between the Nile. When I'm now look, I'm putting this 2 and 2. So the Nile and Red Sea, all right, it'll be in between that. So between the Red Sea and the Nile, not in between the Red Sea, not in between the Nile and the Red Sea. What I'm saying is between those two rivers on one side. Or let me say like this: those two rivers on one side, and the Tigris and Euphrates on the other side. And what's in between that? The nation of Israel. And the proof is the fifth one that's mentioned here. He make understanding to abound like Euphrates, and as Jordan in the time of harvest. That Jordan River let you know what's in the midst of that. So that's what the garden is. Okay? That's these four heads compassed. The land of Israel. That's where wisdom comes from. All right? Wisdom comes from Israel, man. That's the Garden of Eden. We have received that blessing, that covenant, man. Oh, how's it worded? So Rock 24 and 8, because it just described the wisdom like those rivers. So we understand there's a spiritual part to the Garden of Eden. We know it's an actual land, all right, but there's a spiritual part to it. This is where wisdom dwells at. This is Rock 24 and 8. So the creator of all things gave me a commandment, and he that made me caused my tabernacle to rest, and said, let thy dwelling be in Jacob, and thine inheritance in Israel. Of course, it's the people, but it's also the place of where wisdom resides, man. In Israel. That's the Garden of Eden. That's the tree of life resides with us, man. All right? This wisdom. So in order for this edifying, a faith booster, we on the right track, brother. We got the truth. Let us continue in this. Let me end on that, man. We continue in this, man. We the elect. This is Colossians 1:21. And you that were sometime alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now hath he reconciled in the body of his flesh through death, to present you holy and unblameable and unreprovable in his sight. All right, so the Lord is going to present us holy, unblameable, unreprovable, right? Here's a contingency. If ye continue in the faith, grounded and settled. So we're on the right path. As long as we continue in this, we are the elect. And may Yahweh Shem Yahshua bless that we continue in this, because the steps of righteous men are directed by the Lord, man. And be not moved away from the hope of the gospel which ye have heard, in which was preached to every creature which is under heaven, whereof I, Paul, am made a minister. So hope is edifying. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles, there's a great millstone. And such brothers doing this thing in sincerity and truth and with charity. Shalom, my Baba Ball.